What if everything you thought you knew about Tony Stark was a lie? What if the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, the heart of the Avengers, wasn't who he seemed? Buckle up, Marvel fans, because today we're diving into a mind-blowing theory that's been hiding in plain sight. Tony Stark is not Howard Stark's son. He's Victor Von Doom, the iconic Doctor Doom, and Kang the Conqueror might be the mastermind behind it all. This isn't just speculation, it's a puzzle pieced together from years of MCU clues. Stick with me for the next 20 minutes as we unravel the biggest secret Marvel might be saving for a multiversal bombshell. Let's get started. If you're a Marvel fan, you know the MCU loves to drop breadcrumbs that lead to massive reveals. From Thanos' subtle hints to the multiverse cracking open, Marvel plays the long game. But what if one of their biggest twists has been staring us in the face since Iron Man kicked off the MCU in 2008? Today we're exploring a theory that flips Tony Stark's entire existence upside down. The idea is simple but staggering. Tony Stark, the man we know as Iron Man, isn't just Howard Stark's son. He's actually Victor Von Doom, the brilliant, ruthless ruler of Latveria disguised as the MCU's golden hero. And the kicker? Kang, or rather He Who Remains, might have orchestrated this to keep Doom's power in check. This theory pulls from key moments in Avengers, Endgame, Iron Man 2, Loki, and subtle MCU Easter eggs that Marvel has been planting for over a decade. By the end of this video, you'll see Tony Stark in a whole new light. Let's break it down step by step. Let's start with Avengers, Endgame, the movie that gave us Tony Stark's ultimate sacrifice. But buried in that epic finale is a moment that's easy to overlook. When Tony snaps his fingers to defeat Thanos, there's a fleeting scene where he pauses, almost as if he's questioning his own existence. His eyes flicker with confusion, like he's seeing something beyond the battlefield. Fans have debated what this moment means, but what if it's Marvel hinting at a deeper truth? What if Tony's sacrifice wasn't just about saving the universe, but about confronting a hidden part of himself? This moment feels like a crack in the facade of Tony Stark's identity, a glimpse into a truth he doesn't fully understand. Now think about Tony's arc in Endgame. He's a man wrestling with his legacy, his purpose, and his place in the universe. He's not just fighting Thanos, he's fighting for clarity about who he is. This isn't the confident Tony we saw in Iron Man or the Avengers. This is a Tony who's been shaken by time travel, by meeting his father Howard in 1970, and by the weight of the multiverse. That meeting with Howard is crucial. When Tony talks to his dad, there's an awkwardness, a disconnect that feels deeper than just father-son tension. It's almost as if Tony is searching for answers about his origins, answers Howard doesn't give. Could this be Marvel's way of planting doubt about Tony's lineage? Let's push this further. In the comics, Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom have a complicated relationship. They're mirrors of each other, brilliant scientists, arrogant leaders, men driven by their own moral codes. But what if the MCU took this a step further? What if Tony isn't just similar to Doom, but is Doom, hidden in plain sight? Endgame's time heist gave Marvel the perfect opportunity to mess with Tony's identity. By sending him back to 1970, they could have been setting up a reveal that Tony's birth, his very existence, isn't what it seems. Maybe Tony wasn't born to Howard and Maria Stark. Maybe he was placed there, a pawn in a larger game. And who's the ultimate chess master in the MCU? That brings us to Kang. To understand how Tony could be Doctor Doom, we need to rewind to Iron Man 2, a movie that's often dismissed as filler, but might hold the key to this theory. In that film, Howard Stark leaves Tony a message from beyond the grave, calling him his greatest creation. On the surface, it sounds like a proud father talking about his son. But let's dig deeper. The phrase greatest creation is oddly specific, almost clinical. It's not my pride and joy or my beloved son, it's creation, like Tony is a project, an invention. Howard was a genius, a man who built Stark Industries and helped create Captain America's shield. What if his greatest creation wasn't just raising a son, but engineering one? Imagine this, Howard Stark working with S.H.I.E.L.D. In the 1970s, stumbles across something extraordinary. Maybe it's a child from another timeline, a child with unmatched intellect and potential. Maybe it's Victor Von Doom, plucked from a reality where he's already a threat. Howard, being the opportunist he is, decides to raise this child as his own, hiding his true identity to protect the world. This would explain why Howard's message to Tony feels so impersonal. It's not a father's love, it's a scientist's pride in a successful experiment. Now let's connect this to Doctor Doom. In the comics, Victor Von Doom is a genius with a tragic backstory. He's driven by his desire to save his mother, to conquer, to prove himself. But he's also a man of immense pride, much like Tony Stark. If Tony is Doom, raised as a Stark, it would explain his arrogance, his need to be the best, and his constant drive to fix the world, even at great cost. Iron Man 2's message from Howard could be Marvel's first hint that Tony's origins are more complicated than we thought. And if Howard was hiding Tony's true identity, who else might have been involved? That's where He Who Remains enters the picture. If you've watched Loki, you know He Who Remains is the puppet master of the multiverse. He's the one who ended the multiversal war, defeated countless variants, and created the sacred timeline to keep everything in check. But what if one of the enemies he faced was a variant of Victor Von Doom? In the comics, Doom is a multiversal threat, capable of challenging gods and rewriting reality. It's not hard to imagine He Who Remains seeing Doom as a major obstacle in his quest for control. Here's where the theory gets wild. What if He Who Remains didn't just defeat Doom but neutralized him in a way no one saw coming? Instead of killing him, he hid Doom in plain sight, stripping him of his memories and placing him in the sacred timeline as Tony Stark. This would explain why Tony's life feels so orchestrated. His rise as Iron Man, his role in the Avengers, his sacrifice in Endgame, all of it could be part of He Who Remains' plan to keep Doom's power contained. By making Doom a hero, He Who Remains turned a potential enemy into an asset. But why Tony Stark? Why not just erase Doom entirely? The answer lies in Doom's brilliance. Even He Who Remains couldn't destroy someone as resourceful as Victor Von Doom. Instead, he repurposed him, giving him a new identity and a new purpose. This fits with what we know about Kang's variants. In Loki, He Who Remains admits he's been playing a long game, manipulating events across timelines. Hiding Doom as Tony Stark would be the ultimate checkmate, ensuring that one of the multiverse's greatest threats never realizes his true potential. Let's tie this back to Endgame. When Tony meets Howard in 1970, it's during the time heist, a moment when the sacred timeline is already fracturing. If He Who Remains was watching, he might have known that Tony was getting too close to the truth. That flicker of confusion in Tony's eyes during the snap could be Doom's consciousness trying to break through, a moment where the walls of his false identity start to crumble. Marvel loves these subtle hints, and this one feels like a neon sign pointing to a bigger reveal. At this point, you might be thinking, this is a stretch. Why would Marvel hide something this big? But let's look at how Marvel operates. The MCU is built on long-term storytelling. They teased Thanos for years before Infinity War. They planted the multiverse in Ant-Man and built it up slowly. A Tony Stark Dr. Doom twist would be exactly the kind of bombshell Marvel loves to deliver. And the clues are everywhere if you know where to look. Take Tony's personality. He's not just a hero, he's a control freak. He builds Ultron to protect the world, even if it means defying his team. He signs the Sokovia Accords to impose order, even if it splits the Avengers. These aren't just character flaws, they're echoes of Dr. Doom's obsession with control. In the comics, Doom believes he's the only one who can save the world, even if it means ruling it with an iron fist. Sound familiar? Tony's arc in the MCU mirrors this perfectly. He's always one step away from becoming a tyrant, held back only by his loyalty to his friends. Then there's the visual symbolism. In Iron Man 3, Tony's armor is damaged and he's forced to rebuild himself. The imagery of a scarred genius in a metal suit feels like a nod to Doom's iconic armor. Even Tony's sacrifice in Endgame has parallels to Doom. In the comics, Doom has made noble sacrifices, but always with an agenda. What if Tony's snap wasn't just selfless, but a subconscious act of reclaiming his true power? Marvel has also been playing with Tony and Doom's connection in other ways. In the comics, there's a famous storyline where Tony and Doom swap bodies, highlighting how similar they are. The MCU could be taking this a step further by making them the same person. And with Dr. Doom set to appear in the Fantastic Four movie and Avengers: Secret Wars on the horizon, the timing feels perfect for a reveal. Imagine Secret Wars showing us a flashback where Tony's true identity is exposed, reshaping everything we thought we knew about the MCU's first hero. It would be a gut punch, and Marvel knows it. So how does Kang fit into all this? If He Who Remains hid Doom as Tony Stark, it's likely that Kang's other variants know the truth. In Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, we saw Kang the Conqueror as a ruthless warlord, but he's also a strategist. If he's aware that Tony is Doom, he might see him as a threat or an ally. This could explain why Kang's presence in the MCU feels so tied to the Avengers. He's not just fighting for control of the multiverse, he's fighting to keep his greatest rival in check. Let's speculate about the future. With Secret Wars coming, Marvel has the perfect stage to reveal Tony's true identity. Picture this. The multiverse is collapsing, and a variant of Tony Stark appears, but this time he's wearing Doom's armor. The Avengers are shocked, but the clues were there all along. Howard's message, Tony's identity crisis, the parallels between Iron Man and Doom, it all leads to one truth. Tony Stark was never just a man. He was a god in disguise, a conqueror rewritten as a hero. This reveal would also give Robert Downey Jr. a way to return to the MCU without cheapening Tony's sacrifice. Instead of bringing back the same Tony, Marvel could introduce a variant who embraces his Doom persona. It would be a fresh take on the character, one that honors his legacy while pushing the MCU into bold new territory. And with Kang as the central villain of the multiverse saga, the stage is set for a showdown between two titans, the Conqueror and the Doom, who was hidden for decades. Now let's address the skeptics. Some of you might say, Tony's story is done. He died in Endgame. Why would Marvel retcon his identity now? Fair point, but Marvel has never been afraid to rewrite history. They retconned Spider-Man's parents, they introduced the Eternals, they even made Captain America a time traveler. A Tony Stark Doctor Doom reveal wouldn't be a retcon, it would be a payoff for years of foreshadowing. Another counter-argument is that Tony and Doom are too different. Tony's a hero, Doom's a villain, but that's exactly why this works. The MCU thrives on moral ambiguity. Tony's heroism is flawed, and Doom's villainy is complex. Merging them into one character would create a fascinating gray area, a hero who could have been a monster but chose a different path. Finally, some might argue there's not enough evidence, but Marvel doesn't spoon-feed us every clue. They scatter them across movies, trusting fans to connect the dots. The hints in Iron Man 2, Endgame, and Loki aren't accidents. They're pieces of a puzzle that's still coming together. And with the multiverse wide open, anything is possible. We've just unpacked a theory that could change the MCU forever. Tony Stark is Victor Von Doom, hidden by He Who Remains to prevent a multiversal catastrophe. From Howard Stark's cryptic message to Tony's identity crisis in Endgame, the clues are there, waiting for Marvel to pull the trigger. Whether it happens in Secret Wars or beyond, this reveal would be a game changer, proving once again why the MCU is the king of long-term storytelling. What do you think? Is Tony Stark really Doctor Doom, or is this just a wild fan theory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get the debate going. If you enjoyed this deep dive, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next Marvel breakdown. We've got more theories coming, including one about Kang's secret plan for the Fantastic Four. Share this video with your fellow Marvel fans, and let's see how many minds we can blow. Until next time, keep theorizing, and I'll see you in the multiverse.